Just read it. Lazy Mike Johnson has made himself irrelevant and pointless. You know, I always find that funny. When you can't beat us on the issues, what do children do? They personalize it. And that's exactly what this member is doing. He can't beat us on the issues. So he wants to attack our leader, who has done a remarkable job, and personalize it. We're not in 6th grade anymore. But maybe for some people they are in 6th grade. But let's remember the facts. Republicans acted, the Democrats stalled. Mike Johnson has shown leadership, discipline, and focus. And what's lazy, I'll share with you what's lazy, is Democrats refusing to do their job and blaming everyone else for the problems in which they created. Because what Democrats are doing is wrong. And Americans, real Americans, hardworking Americans, are getting hurt. I, for one, have had it. And I don't think I'm the only one out there. On Sunday, a Democrat House member admitted to the Wall Street Journal that his party is being pushed by far-left groups. He said the quiet part out loud, everybody. He said what we've been saying forever. He said Democrats were lying to the American people about the reason behind the shutdown. Well, that's a shock, right? It isn't for health care. It isn't for health care, because if it was about health care, they wouldn't have stripped the $50 billion rural health care fund. I mean, come on, Democrats, get your story straight. At least get a good story that you can spin to the American people, but you can't even keep your story straight. Listen, what the speaker said, Ronald Reagan was right. Trust the American people. And you know what? I'll say it again. When the facts aren't on your side, you have to personalize it and you have to lie. But the question right now is, at what point is the pain of the Americans going to outweigh the radical cries of their base? It wasn't when our troops almost didn't get paid. It wasn't when moms and infants were at risk of losing the food off their table. It wasn't when flights across the nation got canceled because air traffic controllers and TSA agents didn't get paid. No. When that happened, Democrats said, every day gets better for them. Really? Maybe because they're getting paid while the people who they represent are not. That's what they said. They said pain for the American people was their best leverage. They said maybe it was uncomfortable, but it was worth it to them. Really? Think about that. Let that settle in. Let that just sit for a minute. So now I ask, will it be enough pain this weekend when 42 million Americans lose access to food on their table? Will it be enough when 2 million Americans miss a paycheck? What Democrats are doing right now is absolutely cruel, but it's also dangerous. And I think Chairman Mast spoke very well on this issue, but let's build on that. When our skies aren't staffed, when our borders aren't secure, and when our troops are at risk of missing a paycheck, that is not a political strategy. That is a national security threat. Enough is enough. Americans do not want to be used as leverage. And they don't want to be used as leverage for another $1 trillion of wasteful spending. They work way too hard for their paychecks. They want relief, they want leadership, and they want results. Democrats, please, I implore you, do what's right. Democrats, do what's right. End the shutdown. End the suffering for the American people. Stop, as you say, leveraging the pain. vote for the Clean CR funding bill and let America move forward. Thank you.
All right, questions? Manu, go ahead.
Given how dire that you expressed for so many Americans right now, how do you justify the administration giving this big, massive bailout to Argentina, as well as calling for an increase in beef imports from Argentina?
Look, we give foreign policy, the execution of foreign policy, to the executive branch, and that's what the president is doing right now. There's lots of nuances about that. He's involved in negotiating trade agreements around the country to the great success and benefit of the American people right now. Dozens of them being worked out. He's overseas right now doing the same thing. And what he accomplished in Japan is a remarkable thing for the American people. And by the way, they've agreed to invest $550 billion into America, and that's good for everyone. So I can't get into the nuances of every single trade agreement with every country around the world, but we're going to trust the president to do what he's doing. He's had a remarkable track record of success for the American people, and nobody in this room can refute it. So I'm going to leave it right there. Chad, let's talk about the government shutdown. It's the main important thing right here. Chad, go ahead.
Can you talk about some of the members in, excuse me, can you talk about some of the members at your conference who have expressed concern about the House being out, or saying that this has gone on, too long, we need to maybe have another CR or take another approach or do something on health care?
Yeah.
Can you talk about what that is like and some of the things that you're hearing from your members who are saying, this is really going on?
Well, you all know what I'm hearing from my members because our calls are leaked every week, and we had a conference call with almost everyone yesterday. By our count, there's about 3 to 4 members of the House Republican Conference who have only mildly questioned working in the districts as opposed to being here on the floor. And we talked through that in as much detail as we can on a call that I know is being printed on the front page of all the papers the next morning. But I can tell you that 99% of all the Republicans in the Senate and the House heartily agree with what we are doing. They understand the most important thing and the most important function and the basic and most simple thing that government must do is keep its operation going for the people. That is the first job of Congress. And when we can't do that, everything is paralyzed. And so we have made that the #1 emphasis. We need the Senate Democrats to do what they have always done in the past. Don't make me tell you all the facts again. 13 times during the Biden administration alone, they voted on CRs to keep the government going. They know the pain they're inflicting. They do not care because they're more afraid of the radical left Marxists in the base than they are the American people. That's plain and simple. And so it's painful for them, for us to get up here every single day and relate again the simple truths. We have to do that. The repetition is what makes the truth saturate, because most of the mainstream media is giving us headwinds. They're pushing back, as I just demonstrated from you from the results. The research proves what we know intuitively, that the mainstream media, most of the legacy media, is parroting the talking points to the other side. You are not asking Chuck Schumer the hard questions. You're not asking Hakeem Jeffries the hard questions. Not enough of them. They're hiding. And they think that they can appease the radical base because they're more afraid of the voices of the far left corner of their party than they are everybody else. And I think there's going to be a big price to pay for that in the future. Yes, sir, right here.
Religion News Service has tracked 5 different instances in the last few weeks. DHS or ICE agents apparently, or the sort of support, shooting Christian clergy with pepper bullets, pepper rounds, and rubber bullets. There was viral video of a Presbyterian minister being hit in the head with pepper rounds, and just last week a UCC minister was shot directly in the face with a pepper round by a DHS agent that left his face bloody. I know that you've advocated for religious freedom in the past and celebrated the president's decision to pardon anti-abortion demonstrators. Do you share the concern of these clergy? This is a religious freedom issue that's emerging between the administration and the clergy.
I can't comment on any of those instances. I haven't seen or heard any of those videos, so I'm not going to comment about it. But I would say, hold on, wait a minute. Let me answer you. Hold on. Thank you. You asked the question. Religious freedom does not extend and give you the right to get in the face of an ICE officer and assault them, if indeed that was what happened there. What I've seen is a measured approach by the people who are trying to enforce our border laws, our immigration laws. And that was desperately needed and desired and demanded by the American people. You might remember the #1 issue in the November election last year was the wide open border and the chaos that has ensued by that. So the people are out doing a very difficult job. ICE officers, by the way, are under tremendous strain and pressure. How would you like to do that job if you had to put on the badge and do it? When you know you have the media criticizing every move, and you have wild protesters in your face, cursing at you, waving their finger in your face, and sometimes pushing you and assaulting you. Okay, it's a dangerous, risky job. Thank the Lord that there are people who are willing to do that difficult job, to put on the badge and show that kind of courage. We should be on the side of law enforcement, and anybody who's trying to disrupt those operations, they need to be handled the right way. Now, look, all of us want the law to be enforced. We are the rule of law party. Chaos is not an American virtue. The rule of law, but you have to have order, and you have to have peace, and you have to have some people who are brave enough to put on the uniform and go ensure that. So get out of their face and let them do their job. That's what I would say. Down here, yes, ma'am.
We're getting closer to the November 21st deadline for the CR that you guys passed. We're almost 3 weeks away from that. Is it time to bring the House back to pass a new CR with a new date? Is fewer than 3 weeks enough time to finish appropriations?
Wouldn't that be a futile exercise when we have a CR that's been sitting over there since September 19th? If I brought the House back and we passed another CR, it would meet the exact same fate from Chuck Schumer. He would mock it, they would spike it, and they would try to blame it on us. So what would be the point of that? We're all concerned about the timing. The Democrats are eating up the clock. We have very important work to do here, and that's why we're pleading with them, not Chuck Schumer. Look, I think Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are irredeemable at this point. I don't think they'll be able to tell Mamdani in New York and his disciples that they voted to open the government. I've given up on the leadership. So we're trying to appeal to a handful of moderates or centrists who care more about the American people and will put the people's interests over their own and do the right thing in the Senate. I mean, there's no point in me sitting down with Chuck Schumer. He's painted himself into a corner. I get all that. Mamdani it looks like he's going to win and be the mayor of New York City, and Hakeem Jeffries came out and endorsed him. That's all you need to know. Hakeem Jeffries is terrified that Mamdani, one of his disciples, is going to challenge him in his own seat in the election next fall. You've already seen that rumored. Some of you have reported on it. So he had to do it. He had to endorse socialism. He had to endorse Marxism. This dangerous ideology that has taken over the Democrat Party, that is what is motivating them. So it doesn't matter what we do in the House. It doesn't matter what we pass. We have to get a handful of moderates over there who care about America to do the right thing. We need at least 7 Democrats. It takes 60 votes in the Senate to pass it. This is not the Republicans. This fault is squarely on the shoulders of the Democrats, and they are the ones causing you the pain, and don't ever let them forget it. Thank you.
Thank you.
American people, the Democrats are coming near now to a cliff that they will not be able to turn back from, and it's of great concern to everyone who's paying attention to all this. You will note that more air traffic controllers and TSA agents and park rangers are about to go without a paycheck. You've got families and children that rely upon SNAP benefits that are going to go hungry here at the end of the week. You've got more critical workers, by the way, including the people who are the stewards of our nuclear defense arsenal, who are forced to stay at home as the government remains closed. The Democrats own every one of these consequences. So we want to point out a couple of important facts this morning for you. It's no coincidence that polling this week confirms that over 70% of the American people believe the Democratic Party is out of touch. And amazingly to us, still every day, they turn their back